a Minister of Trade will be handed a blank check to deny those who are not in his good books. So if the minister thinks that you don't look pretty or nice, he can decide to refuse you licenses. And create powerful trade cartel who will monopolize the importation of this essential product. And I'm not sure no one here wants the minister to create these cartels in our economy. And these cartels, if created, will not be a good news for ourselves. This has the potential of creating supply chain disruptions and shortages of certain goods in the economy and its concomitant effect on inflation of certain goods and services. The NDC holds the view that the right to import essential commodities into the country cannot be limited on the whims and caprices of a Minister of Trade and Industry, his deputy, or a certain import permit committee, which will be constituted by the minister responsible for trade under Regulation 2 of the proposed regulations that is before Parliament. The alternative view of the NDC on this matter is as follows. 1. Where credible data exists to show that Ghana has adequate domestic capacity to produce a particular product, or where the consumption of a product has been proven to be injurious to public health or safety, government can simply place a ban on the importation of such product into the country. For example, I've heard people saying that Yemadeɛ should be banned, and it's not good for us, and it should not be imported into our economy. The question is, if there is evidence proven by experts that it is against our health and is injurious to our health, then the government should do what is required to do, but not necessarily restricting the importation. You can equally ban it if you think that is what you should do. However, where a particular product has not been proven to be harmful to public health or safety, and there is no credible data to show that enough domestic capacity exists to meet the demand for that product, government can regulate the importation of that product in two main ways. One of the ways is to introduce a transparent quota system for the importation of certain products, as was done by the elsewhere NDC John Mahama administration in the poultry sector. During that time, a quota system requires a prospective importer of a particular product to first show proof of utilizing existing local capacity by procuring a certain percentage of his intended import volumes locally. When the elsewhere NDC John Mahama government realized that the local poultry industry has the capacity to meet about 20% of our local consumption, the then government introduced the 40% rule in the poultry industry in the year 2014, which required that poultry importers to produce at least 40% of their total stock from local poultry pitches. Let me take this again. In 2014, what we did required poultry importers to purchase at least 40% of their total stock from local poultry farmers. This policy was implemented alongside the Ghana Broiler Project and other incentives for local poultry farmers aimed at enhancing the domestic production of poultry. Another mechanism that can be used to regulate import with the aim of protecting the indigenous industry is the imposition of tariff and non-tariff measures on certain products to encourage the patronage and consumption of locally produced commodities. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a known fact that trade volumes at our port have dropped drastically under the failed Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government due to high duties and taxes. Similarly, smuggling of goods out of Ghana to other neighboring countries has intensified due to the porous nature of our borders. The obnoxious legislative instrument before Parliament will exacerbate these problems, impact livelihood and the economy as a whole. As you may be aware, the insensitive Akufo-Addo government is also seeking to introduce a new raft of draconian tax measures on the already impoverished Ghanaians on the back of the 2024 budget. These tax measures, which are currently before Parliament, include the following: an imposition of VAT on non-life insurance, such as motor or car insurance, marine insurance, fire insurance, building insurance, goods in transit. Let me take this again. You may be aware that before Parliament, there's a number of tax measures already that the minister responsible for finance, representing His Excellency the President and the Vice President Alajiba, has submitted to Parliament for approval. And some of these taxes include the following. They are imposing a VAT on all non-life insurance, such as motor cars. So if you are going to buy car insurance, you pay VAT. If you are buying marine insurance, you pay VAT. If you are buying fire insurance, you pay VAT. You pay VAT on your building insurance. You pay VAT on goods in transit, and many more non-life insurance. He has also imposed 5% VAT flat rate on residential and commercial real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghanaians should get ready to pay 5% VAT anytime you buy a house from a real estate company. Going forward, if this law goes through, the VAT before Parliament goes through, if you intend to buy a house, get ready to put 5% aside for President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia. Because every house you buy, going forward, you will pay 5% VAT on the quantum of the amount that you are supposed to buy. So if it is 1 million Ghana cedis house you are buying, you will pay 50,000 Ghana cedis to President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia. He's also imposing taxes on textbooks, VAT on textbooks, exercise books, newspapers, publications, architectural plan, scientific and technical works, magazines, periodicals, calendars, trade catalog, price list, diaries, and stationery. So including pens, stationery including pen and paper, you pay VAT on them. They are also imposing VAT on domestic air travel. So if you are going to Kumasi, Takoradi, or Tamale, and you decide to use aeroplane, you will pay VAT on those products. Passion, whatever. All domestic airlines will now attract VAT. Imposition of VAT on domestic transportation of passengers by road, rail, and water. So if you charter a car, get ready, you will pay VAT. There's no strong railway system, but it says the rail and water as well. You end up paying VAT. There's an increase in stamp duty rates across board. Again, there's a new tax measure also before Parliament called Excise Duty Amendment Bill. And the new Excise Duty Amendment Bill seeks to increase the excise duty on cider beer from 20% to 47% of ex-factory price. So those of you that consume things such as Savannah, you'll be paying Heineken, cider beer. It's going to go up from 20% to 47%. And of ex-factory price, same as Apeteshi. You pay 20% tax on Apeteshi. I don't know how they are going to get the Apeteshi tax for. The bill also seeks to introduce excise duty of 100 Ghana cedis per annum for all petrol and diesel vehicles. Diesel and petrol vehicles going forward, each one of them will be paying 100 Ghana cedis. And this is what they call the internal combustion engine vehicles. And this includes all private cars, trotro, Uber cars, taxis, motorcycles, Aboboya, Prajia, Okada, Mahama Kandu. All of them will end up paying 100 Ghana cedis. Mahama Kandu, if you go to the north, it's very popular there, Mahama Kandu. yellow. Then we have the Okada, Prajia, Aboboya, motorcycles, taxis, Uber, Trotro, articulators, every car that uses diesel and petrol and registered at the DVLA, 100 Ghana cedis, no exemption. Ambulance, the car, including Hess, all of them, you end up paying that kind of tax. This particular tax, as I've mentioned, is regressive, since all vehicles will pay the same amount of 100 Ghana cedis per year, whether you are using a V8 articulator or an Uber car. And that is how regressive the tax is. Why should someone that has the money and is able to buy V8 pay the same 100 Ghana cedis as the person that is using Okada or Prajia or yellow, okay, or Mahama Kandu? I mean, it shows that this tax is nothing but a very regressive tax. Furthermore, the bill seeks to introduce excise duty of 100 Ghana cedis per ton of carbon dioxide emission by industry. So what this simply means is that if you are a company and you produce smoke, carbon dioxide smoke emission, they will come and measure it. I don't know how they will measure it. And if they measure it, a ton of the emission, you pay 100 Ghana cedis. 1 ton, 100 Ghana. So if you produce 50 tons, 50 times 100, 50 times 100. So they will come there and measure the smoke, the wusuo. If the wusuo is that big, then they will give you 100 Ghana cedis. And probably they will use a size like that. And if it's that big, 100, that big, 200, another big, 400. So depending on the size of the wusuo you produce, you will be paying tax of 100 Ghana cedis per ton. My colleague, Honorable Adongo, says this is an Nwusuo tax. Nwusie tax. It's a tax for smoke. And so be careful. Don't generate smoke in your bedroom, else you end up paying Nwusie tax. Ladies and gentlemen, amid all these taxes, it is our considered view, we the NDC, that these regulations are regressive, counterproductive, and have the potential to breed corruption, just like the days of the essential commodity and price control. And I'm sure most of you here, you may not have witnessed the price control regime those days, including myself, but we may have heard of it. And the days of Kalabule and what it did. President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia seeks to bring Kalabule back into our economy. Clearly, the proposed legislative instrument on the import restrictions is completely unwarranted and unwelcome. We in the NDC cannot welcome this legislative instrument. Already, importers and business community have amply demonstrated how these regulations lack broad consultation and consensus. We therefore call on government to withdraw these regulations immediately and broaden its engagement with all key stakeholders. We call on the Trade Union Congress, the TUC, the civil society organizations, the CSOs, traditional authorities, the clergy, such as the Catholic Bishop Conference, the Apostolic Fathers, and all clergy, chief imam, and everyone else, and all progressive forces to speak up and join the NDC minority to reject this obnoxious import restriction regulation in the supreme interest of our dear country. Colleagues, we can't fight this alone. We in the NDC in Parliament cannot fight this alone. The Constitution is clear on this matter. Before we torpedo this legislative instrument through parliamentary process, it will require 2/3 majority to overturn it. The NDC members, our number is 137. We do not have 2/3. And so we alone cannot stop this. So far, we have used strategies in Parliament to curtail delaying. It cannot continue. All what we are asking is that we can't do this alone. So join us Join us. Our brothers and sisters from the media, join us. Let us stop this obnoxious legislative instrument that seeks to ransack and create opportunity for others to make money. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So if you have questions in English, this is the time for you to ask the questions before we move to the pre-presentation. Do we have any questions in English on leader's presentation? If you do, you tell me your name, your media house, and you keep your question. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mawina with TV3. So the minority leader mentioned that so far they've been able to stall the laying. What is the current state now? Because based on calculations, it appears that if it is laid now, the constitutionally mandated 21 days, they might not reach. And we know also yesterday there was an engagement.
It might not reach. I don't understand.
It will not meet the 21-day constitutional, based on the calculations for the House
to rise. But they will obviously resume.
Well, that's one of the opinions. The reason for which there's a suggestion that the trade minister might not lay. But on outside of that, he says that he wants Ghanaians to join in the support in rejecting this bill. Is it the case that there aren't any laid down processes to which, as the minority side with their numbers, they can tackle this head on?
All right.
Outside of the technicalities that he's mentioned, and also what the outcome of the engagement with the trade unions was yesterday as well.
So 3 questions. Thank you. Any other? Okay, so leader will address these 3. If you have a question, kindly come forward. Yeah, sure. Yes.
Daily analyst and Swahili News.
All right.
I want to find out from the leader, what measures are there? What gap can the public feel in order to press against this particular thing?
All right. You want specifics? All right. Okay. I think that will be all. That'll be all. Thank you. So minority leader will deal with these questions and then we shall move to the presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Let me start with from the last question. What gap can the public fill? First, let it be noted that this bill has passed cabinet, the cabinet of President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia. Let it also be known that this bill couldn't have been submitted by KT Amon if the president and the vice president, in fact, Alhaji Bawumia, does not agree to this. So it is a bill from the president and his vice president, Alhaji Bawumia. That is a fact. So what we are asking you to fill, the gap is that speak out as a citizen of Ghana, someone who cares about our country. Demonstrate, shout hard for the president to hear that, please, Mr. President, this your policy is in bad taste and that it will not help our country. If you do that, the one who sent the minister, first of all, the Minister of Trade is actually operating under the license of President Akufo-Addo and Alhaji Bawumia, isn't it? And it is only his authority or their authority that the minister responsible for trade is presenting this before Parliament. And in fact, this trade restriction has gone through the economic management team meeting. Because the Minister of Trade is a member of the economic management team. And this is chaired by Alhaji Bawumia. So it's Dr. Bawumia who has approved this to be laid. And so I urge you, as media men and women, I urge you, as civil society organization, the Trade Union Congress, the clergymen, please join us in shouting, let's mount pressure for the government to withdraw this, because it breaches all protocols that we have signed, the treaties that we have signed, including the recent IMF agreement. It breaches all protocols that we have actually ratified. So please, that is the gap that is missing. Oftentimes, impressions are created that it's only the NDC that should fight. We have fought enough. Until you join us, we'll lose this battle. We don't want to lose this battle. Join us so that we don't lose this battle. Because the battle for the people of Ghana and not for ourselves. It's for all of us. So join us and let's fight. And then lastly, the state of the airline. As we speak, the Minister for Trade and Industry is in Parliament, trying everything possible to lay it. The reason why you can only see two of us here, myself and the ranking member for Trade and Industry, is that we want the rest to be there. So we are fighting all angles whilst we are addressing the media. The man is there trying to lay it. So colleagues must stay back and fight there whilst we fight here. So we are calling on you to join us in the fight. Because the truth is that if we allow him to lay it, 21 working days or parliamentary sitting days, this will become a law. And if it becomes a law, you need only two-thirds majority to overturn it. We don't have it. Two-thirds is about 180 something, huh? We have 37. And we have 137. So we cannot actually overturn it. And I can assure you, until we do something, the minister responsible for trade and industry will stop at nothing. He will lay this and it will become a law. In the end, Ghana will be the one that will lose, and not just the NDC. All of us will lose together. So we brought this matter to you to help us in the fight. Don't leave it to only us. We'll fight with you, and with your help, we can win it together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader. I'll do a quick summary of the presentation in Twi. If you have any question in Twi, you can ask. Our ranking member is here, and we'll share a brief word on this whole fight. He's been in the thick of affairs before we wrap up by exactly 3 p.m. And Tiabusianfoa, Yeshiawaha. To say the Yakandi for what Mrashibidrim, Dr. Atoforsen, a Chichimuno. A Yanibresem internet Yeshiawaha. And Penise, a Nibrin Soja. And yes, I can be say, Yenina Yenia call. Nina said, O Mampenia Kufua Donia Lajiba Wimia Bay, O Makwa Koshe, Emra Boni Bia, O Moya Yobube to me Bia said, O Modebe Comra Shibi Nababe Emra. Na Obusianfo Sesamra we yetna se the ensashe yedemni film eya rehan ema ne be yemra e wo Ghana ha ahokyere ene abenedi de ba beto omanfo so no ese wani nipa samra we ebegu onadwuma ese wani nipa samra we ebema wonanu aduane abon ese wani nipa samra we ebese wonwuma mrawe katahye proye dream kankanye de bebo my Ghana mu no ebe chen kalabule emre no katahye ne proya ekutia omawe impuntu enu nti ne yemra hye bebiafo o mo kandifo eye doctor atofo se o magyae o mu bibia ho se ekon no o makubia de waso mo ye bia de kutia mra we o ma ye bia wo mra hye bedwem ba de ho ahia se o mo gebre ene mo nsem twofo a mo na mo kabia o manfo nyina te mo na mo kabia ewom no o mo ni mo bedi sankita ho we na ye kyerɛkyerɛ nsem ni mo kyerɛ mo na mo so maboa ama Ghana fo ate ama ye nyina ya so ye gyina se debi emra we de eni se eba so na obi beka se mra be ne ye ka ho asem emra ye ka ho asem yi obroni friend no legislative instrument ela na de mrei ede ba ne se mra ni nya be ye mra wa wo pese wo de enyema bi firi amano ne bagana enyema na mebubudi sa enyema no pese wo di firi amano ne bagana de di kan uni kwan se wo kra sa enyema ne bagana aje se wa ye krata akoma soafo a ohwedwadie so minister for trade na wa ma wo license ana permit ansana watumi akra sa enyema na ba na wo apply sa wo permit ya wo betua sika nti ye beji wo sika titiri die license fee wo betua wo saka permit no so a emre da so permit ni wu a wo betua sika titiri die e de renew na permit no wo apply a ebeko nipa be du ba ko nsem committee ba sukuo bi a minister na eyi omo se omo hwehwe wo application ni mu no mu mano eho afutuo omo mano omo adwenkyere se committee eyo omo hwehwe mu wie no mo de omo adwenkyere na omo afutuo ma minister na eya adwenkyere minister ne pa obefa opa onfa obi antumi nya ne hwe enti sanye me ya beba bebodi wo pese wo di bi ba agese why application tin o ma kire nyeme wo sa wo de ba nyina na ba so ko na hwehwem e de o ma dwenkire akoma minister no hwe o ma dwenkire na o se magia tu me ma o permit me pa me ma o permit enyema be ne ye ka ho asem de di kan eye mo de toso mienu eye yimwade de toso miensa eye akokọ portrait ho nyema de toso biem eye anwa a ye de emoa ana vegetables aduane aye de toso miensa margarine de toso biem fruit juice de toso biem doko nsa te se coke sprite don simo fruit juice de keka ho nyina ensu aye no mineral water person de bi frama no ne ba ceramic tiles paper ye de di adwuma and the paper board mosquito coil and insecticides kumtuntum preko semina and powder ye de si nyema bi iron and steel na de car dealers ntie car dealers amwo Ghana nyina sese wuntumi fa car magana biem age se udi mrai so se mrai nya be ye mra na wo nipa ba ko pe ho minister of trade ona yeso afo hwedwadie so na akoya application tintintin etua sika ema ba so ko hwehwem e de o ma dwenkire koma no 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 atake decision se wo gitum wo se fata se wo de car ba Ghana ana wo nsem fata baby diapers fish esichire noodles chesetalia entire biscuits canned tomatoes ene enyema yede alumi aye enyema dos bibiri na sa nyema we nyina no wo apply utua wo sika na yede wo license ne ma wo kra eda ba ko minister betimi asori aka se waye bibi amani buafu nti wo license no wetwem emra no man sa tumi no otumi revoke license at any time na mra ne say minister no apply for license the one farm ma and our license ni wu na wo kwa ko renew na eno so wan renew amount and our license no osore dakro na o se watwamu a uni baby akọ baby a obetumi akọ ane say age se wo sanso eye review application ekoma sa minister na nti minister no obeye judge ono abedi ono anasem asu se wo license na watwam ana wo license na wan farm ma no ese fata na ensem fata no ono a na be di sa asem no abua odi wie na eno so wo mpena untumi nyehwe na moa mo hwe enne minister for trade ya otiwe papa ya ye friend KT Hamondi nansi oba abonte be ka se memo ane maba we wo Ghana yeti kono nyansa bi ani na wo hwe papa se no si kasa ne se no si ye ne ye na yɛhyɛ mmara bi sɛ di tumi bi sɛ mano abusuafoɔ yɛnka no kora nkyerɛ wɔn sɛ deɛ na ebisi. This is the seriousness of the matter we are talking about. Obroni say power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. Odi tumi we nyina kɔma nipa baako. Nti ɔno wohwɛ ne yere na wanhwɛ ne yie kura ɔno wɔ asɛm. Wokɔgye ne girl a ɔno wɔ asɛm. Ɔhwɛ w'anim na woyɛ NDC ni ana ayɛ CPP ni wo no ne party a ɔno wɔ asɛm. Baaso kuo yi ɔmo baba benya tumi a ɔmo kasa fa webra ansa ne ama license a wobetua wɔwɔ bosia kora wo ba akɔbɔ no watua ɛnyɛ sa license no wo nsanka ɛnyɛ sa wo kɔ renew a wo nsanka wo license no kɔ etimi gifiri wo nsam enti asɛm wo yɛ asɛm ɛfa yɛ nyinaa ho hwɛ nipa ɛwɔ Ghana ɔmo de mo ba Ghana kɔma kɔla kɔma lata kɔkegyetia ɛnɛ mu nyina nipa baako na ɛba bɛkyerɛ sɛ wo benya license akɔkra mo aba na wo nya license. Now it is not only about the license who at the corner wo kwa de kwa akoba no ma license ni mpo a ne dodo a wo betumi di aba no so no na be kyerɛ. Enti emo no betumi akaza wo mehwɛ wani mu a wonyɛ. Emo no one container ntimi fa de chance amba. Ohwɛ wani mu a wo se wo talia no wo 3 container. Enti the party fo a wo betumi di 20 containers. We are wo de ba ko. That is even if they give you the license. Emra we emra yemu bi yeni fie yenti bi mpanyin senda. Se bi mpreduasa. Tetenimpo anaga na nko nanim sei. E maka bi ma mi nka di enyina sei. Na sojafo di yenso a na ye wo kalabule no na entesa. Enti se yemma kwan ma de we ekoso a de di kan ye di dream pro ye kankan ne kro no na eba. Ko nipa kakra bi na tumi na kodi omunsam. Omoka se fasika bra no wanfa ma wunya bi. De etoso mienu ebema nipa kakra bi anya tumi e de asesa nipa hyebre. E de ditami obi anu aduane. Adenti ene wo se yesa. Adenti ne wo se ma wo kwan ma emrabo ne bi se eba. Na hyehyɛ enye NDC amanyo kunku a ene ya sori etia. Ghana Union of Traders Association Gutafo Omakasetia Fabak for a Food and Beverages Association of Ghana almost way a bonia Edi Musuo Oyene any ahonchre at the Babeto Ghana Fosso Importers and Exporters Association Exporters who Omunina Assembly and yet at the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders or more clear Nyama or Port or Musimre a Rabone Chamber of Automobile Dealership Ghana, omo de car seba, omo so muku omo do, omo so se mrenye. Ena munti ha ye Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Che say ekuo ba ko e wo Ghana omo de e ba mfidudwuma omo da no omo ye sa de na no e wo Ghana. Omo mpo na aban ne sie se wo ye mra we ama omo no. Omo se mra we di adabraka. Ye gitumu a enye yi. But e kamia ye say sankoko nyina de petition come parliament no omu nyina o mate. Ena obi ehwe de ono abo ato forcing ene ono abo Suleiman na Yusuf ene NDC mrahye beduafo be yehu demonstrations a ekoso yehu kasabia ekoso because nipa bebre ntie ena nti ne yefa sa akonya we so amansam twofo matibi na ye nyina ya so de agina because to me a minister ene alaji bawumi ade yesa nhyehyɛ bɔne ɛyɛ ne yɛde ma wo na sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛ kan wo bom ne yɛsɛ mmra we yɛ mmra bɔne yɛ mpene so a yɛbɛdi nkunim mo kai new parliamentary chamber aban we yɛ so obesi ya no yɛ den on social media ka say drop the chamber, they drop the chamber and self-tune ne Dr. Atofos ne NDC amanyuku yɛde ma Ghana fo nyinaa ɛnkasɛ ɛmfa wo ho because ebi ana wotɔ mo wotɔ indomie wotɔ noodles Oton semena ibi oton nyema mabobo din wadwuma ne eba beje free wusem enisi yetena ho ema sa mra we eba na de eye ya na abufu kranti a yeye sansentrofo nhyiamu ni se aban ne de nhyehyɛ bɔne we ba de ahoche ba beto yeso no at the same time ye ni bɔne a ye de aya alaji bawumia wasanso akukyire emra ebura duasa awu nkrata so a odi akom ra hye bedwemu a ye ne mo ka sei omo ye de mo betumi bia se dole kia ne ken emra no mbe pass na mra no ebi ne de ye minority leader ebobo so se enei aban no e de VAT ba ye de ba beto insurance so insurance any life insurance they say wo kwa insurance for your car truck drivers Uber drivers taxi drivers private cars mo kwa kutua e ho VAT o kwa insurance for ofie wo betua enyema bi e na wo pese wo insure wo betua ho VAT we ye bra foforo aban no ba womia e de ba aban ya wo de hyehyɛ ye bɔ no ibe ya ene ya me no mo kase wasan so de VAT aba on adan ya yesisi ni Ghana etonton e rent ti ene wo kwa rent real estate efie bi ana wo kwa to efie bi a efie ne buo na wo betua ni nyina 5% aban na je o rent so a 5% we rent tax inti wo rent na wo tua no say 10,000 na nado or je 500 Ghana cedis 5 million rent VAT no o koto dan 1 billion a emu 5,000 ye 50 million sika dada no waje ti hwe omo ton $9 wo krum a na hwe omo ka omo bo ansa no matimi esi dan aton dan no kra si ebesi wache se wo de besia na esi dan na besia no kra hunsi hu we ebewew na wo ton dan ni wi a sen na wo benya wa ton dan no $500,000 a aban ne say obejo 5% which is $25,000. Can you imagine this? Enye no nko efititi ayeye VAT ye wonyema bi a aban say ye pesika de aban pesika ye mpuntu obenye sika bi a ne sika sebi mpenyin se se kom de wa na no nkyerɛ sɛ fansa mienu didi enu ti ye VAT mra ne nyema bi wo wa ya mfa VAT anyeden anto so because anyema ne nyema ewu hia obi ehia bi enne alaji ba wo mi a oni akufu ado abedi asu mfie nsumuni omanya sika cha aban bia abo besia cha aban bia omampanyin mills omampanyin mahama evie nwotwe okeka sika omunya aye nyina bomu a alaji ba wo mi ani akufu ado mfie nsu omanya 1 trillion ene akire anso omo di sika ni nyina wi ama ene Ghana ye kakra ye ntumi ntua omo wie ya omo se nyema ye ntua so VAT no ene de omo beje ye VAT enti exercise book a otoma wo ba ene wo betua VAT no e 15%. Exercise book textbook ya de be man ko dai 5 years ni since ya the new curriculum by aban fa din ko e de awofo kwa akoto no so a wo de VAT ato so newspaper for amwa chronicle for graphic for daily guide munyina enquire munyina ya de VAT be 15%. Na VAT no kure ni won newspaper na ye to do say na ye san so the 15% e ba be to. This is all of us. Publications, books. Just obi ebe sini dan a why architectural drawing, why the drawing say we na me de ba be sini dan no. Drawing no so aba wo mi aso be je VAT. Drawing, architectural drawing sha. Scientific and technical works. Magazine, I know they mean say dem aka twimpo. Calendar kra wo de be bo wo dem no be tu VAT. Calendar. Now wo de be check date calendar. Open diary a wo be twire. Mrantie na ka che for that dey be bukita diary wo be tu VAT. Pen wo be tu VAT. A4 sheets wo be tu VAT. Paper wo be tu VAT. Stapler kra no stapler wo tu VAT 15% stapler. Office nyema ye didi adwuma nyina. Yes, they say my bomb mine no kro no asika na san. IMF for $600 million emba sika na san teze no mu kuku ya kosoro na mo de eti ahwefo ma propre ho na chese de aka ye botom nyina ma san so afa na. Bone ben ene ye de aya alaji bawomia. Alaji bawomia owo position gina simpi so say monto abamaye na me move Ghana from taxation to production. Ene or the VAT ato apetehye so apio kakra emrantie ahokyere we mu nyina ho banwem e de ahwe mo hafa no so VAT ye ense bebe nyina Snap nyina, snap spirit. Let's snap the spirit. Yeah, the 20% also. Alomo bitters. Yeah, the 20%. Oh, sansa we nyina. Abusuafo flighter obefa say na wutu kwan akosunyane tamale takrade ana obankan kumase say ye hour say ye passion say ye dien local flight nyina so 15% ye de atobo no so and then we try local flight back wa hwe ne bo hwe be bia local flight bo adru ne ye san so de 15% e ba beto so. These are the same people of more opposition most of them TV that say ye ba be tax domestic flight. These are the same people. Abusuafo, they say ofa car is a transportation of passengers by road. Ofa car and also you have a job at. Yes. Oko chata passenger car bia na wa and also so obitu that. And na yaka something duty they na lead the cano. They all chere say and ade bia wo beto. An agreement bia wo be sign, contract bia wo be sign. Lease bi a wo be sign ade bi a wo beto e wose wo de call lands commission ko register bia anade ko aban bi asoye aban asoye bi e ko register bia and also so stamp duty no ya tutum bum 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 omuwe na nya no nko omo se car se wo ga na nyina obi e ba betu ato titi sika no 1 million enu ti wo car no se ye trotro se wo di ye Uber se ye private car mo ba mi muze bi no mu twika munyina say ye Okada say ye Mahama Kandu say ye Pragya say ye Aboboya de ye je 1 million itisika ni mo afibia omo se musie omo a omo produce musie e wo Ghana so ye behwe wo musie no dodo na no so ye de twa to de ama enti musie no 1 ton bia 100 Ghana. Abusuafo areho asefem taxation to production for asem ne yake. Alaji bawomia asem ne yake. Nti ye be measure ngusie ne te se de leader kan ye na ye so ngusie no ye hwa ye be 50 tons. Nti 100 times 50 5,000 Ghana cedis se wo mutua. Ade Oman ya mo se ye nyo ohia man enyo ma penye kufa na ka so man nyo ohia man ya mobododo ye tisika so de ekom ne what tax ya the tax e-levy mo de ba mo se ye tua e-levy wi a akoba uti ye o ya e-levy wo ye funu ye o ya e-levy wa wo pe kwan e-levy wa wo pe hospital e-levy ye tua mo da so je ye covid levy be si ne ni nyina nso mu di emusie tax ene be so mudi na wa we na ntwie na wa mea kusinam de na kusinam be ya ma enti abusuafo areho na ensem ni nyina nkamfu ado de ye ka ne se san hihye ye omodi be ela ye omodi be ya keti ha mo na nya bresa na abusuafo yeso pese ohun obi suban amanitumi papa ye onya me ye minister kra ma hu enyem obi a otimi bie na no didi Ghana mrantie nyina atem na ye mra we dia ma no no na ba be kire emo dodo e wo se wo de bagana fish dodo e wo se wo de bagana akoko dodo e wo se wo de bagana wona be hwe anima ka so be ba license and normal license it bu free say e ya se papa na de don kuma wo mra hye bedwam ni Ndc amanyuko ye ka ne se yanko ayentumi nye because in prempren ye 137 members pen e wo mra hye bedwam minimum can say binum leader MPC so say ochina budget on bebo agu but we forget to say they are only 137 now 137 impu mo hwe eko omode koma o my Ghana mo hwe kasa omode kasama o my Ghana abato mo nzunzanzo se ne ye ne ye wododo a nkasa anyama we nyina enka emma se ye marketi hamon o le sa de we a ena ye ka sei o womra hye bedwam awo ye de obetumi bia so obeli because odo wo say aban ne mra aka wo say aban ne ko position no esua aka afepe na aban ne ko position enti oni alaji ba wo mia sika omo de be ye omo campaign no mo dwe ho ye mfa mra ne mra ntem na je say ye menya tumi ne ye sika de aye campaign ti nani abre ade chi ade san Look at all the problems in trade which he's supposed to fix. Emra we ni hia no. We na be manaba be ye te se mukasa e wo so. We na be manaba be ye Idi Amin wo so. When you tumi agu amanfo nyuma. E dia promote ono ane cartels. If this law is passed, ebedu baabi no eye abusuafo bi nko a e no mo be kra mo abagana. Eye party fo bi nko a na be kra asikyira abagana. Na nya asem ne yanka wo say wo ye mbra no se na be ya nyema ye produce no wo Ghana no. Etimi akoso ama ya produce no mo. Na de biza no se Ghana ye produce asikyire wa ha. Asikyire se na ye produce. Enti asikyire da so ye. Emu you cry your capacity adodo say. Enu nti and I say we are just criticizing. Uti ensem a Dr. Tofosi aka. O say in principle say ye mbra na ye fan control enye madodo a ye kraba oman mu no NDC amanyoko ye foaso. Wa obeka say won foaso no na se bi wonni oman ne hodo. E wo say yetimi yes ade no wo hyehye. Na nye Ghana nko a na ye bibisa. Nigeria o ma yes anyema ni bi. But enye kwan we so ne wo say ye fa ye den eye no. See, you say you restricted imports. You the alternative number. Ube to me akase ya ye nhwehwemu ye wo data idea dance ye say ba na mo ye wo local producers a ombe to me produce e bia 20% of a mo Ghana for ye di na afibia enam senti ya hyemra wa wo pesa wo de mo ba Ghana bia no we better 20% of salmon no from Ghana. Kwa committee. No mo tena so wi abane ho no no aka say emo no me ma mfama. Look at the existing domestic production capacity and set transparent quotas. You can bring whatever quantity. This is a free market economy. Ghana and Saudi Arabia. So allow people to do business freely. Allow people, the person de banman famra, but I didn't be Ghana and a person promote to made in Ghana. Utimisha Mrase, Dodo na what they free Ghana, no meshell, percentage be wa, ton of Ghana. John Mahama, are buying AAB 2014 for poultry farmers. Mobile Maba be year few. Ama mo financiers, La Bianca no me no the poultry, naba, I say poultry, you man, Nancy na present Mahame can once. Well, good poultry, you man, more corner poultry, Dodo Ghana, poultry farmers produce 20% of our consumption in 2016 of poultry was produced by Ghana. And then about 4.5%. What good na aka we injury time no. And I want this amra boni we bana. Adabraka yesomwa enye. Enti wonsom oni nipa. The ene machebe dwafo ejina boma NDC e kan say omodwen oman ho politicians nyina ye nyepe. Ye wo papa ne ye wo bone. And we are telling you, our friends in the media, say, as you know, do critical points. We have a voice, we have power as a people. If we stand together and support our minority MPs through protest, through advocacy, on social media, on our various networks, pressure was a better bind so na samra boni we omo twetwe baby no o ma yesa onyame nka mo yeda mos. All right, so on that note, we would like to thank you, and then we will get you copies of the statements before you leave. We'll see you briefly before you leave. Thank you.